Hello, I'm Stephanie Toman, and today's video within the Excel Skills Beyond the Basics is to do with sorts and lists. So sorting with a custom sort, that's sorting more than one column, and also creating lists using the advanced filter. So let's have a little look at this feature. So you can sort, as you can see up here on the Home tab. You normally would click somewhere within a data range and you can sort A to Z, lowest to highest, or Z to A, highest to lowest. But we're going to do a little bit more than that. So with our multiple sorts, we're going to do more than one. So if we click in the data and then we go to the same area, but this time we use custom sorts. In custom sorts, as it says there when I hover, choose more options such as sorting by multiple columns or rows. Okay, we're going to go onto here. Let's lift this up here and we're going to follow the information along here. So we're making, doing the values of the make is going to be ascending, then we're going to do model, then we're doing a price. And you can see here that's all been done. So you can see the sort of thing that we're getting at. So let's just delete, and let's OK and start again. So together we're going to create that custom sort again. There's our first one. Drop that down and we're going to do it by make. So we click on the make and we make sure that it's A to Z, which is the default ascending. I can see my header rows, my headers in here, because this is ticked on. Take it off and they become column A, B, C, etc. So you can still use those if you didn't highlight your headers or they weren't picked up. You can still use the columns as long as you know which one represents which heading. So then I'm going to add a level, and this one I'm going to do it by model. And if I just pull this down, they're all going to be ascending. The final one at another level is price. And you see, because it's a numeric field, it's got smallest to largest. Then we OK. You can see that the data becomes a little bit skewed. So normally we would look at something, we would know that it's been sorted according to what we've asked. This will sort first by your first item, then your second, and then your third. So your first sort will be priority. And this doesn't look too bad, but some data can look quite different. So that's the sorting by make. I've just dropped a reminder for revision here in the bottom of the spreadsheet, just to help you think about other ways of doing it. In that case, that's been descending. Okay, so we're going to leave that. That's all there is to it, not a lot. And then we're going to look at the filtering list, also a small area, just to make sure that we cover the syllabus. I would imagine a lot of you are already using filters. The data tab is where we find our filter. You can see that I have filtered data here, and click it on and click it off. If it's not in the range, it won't click back on again. So you do need to be in the range in order to do it. So outside the range, it won't do it. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. Normally we would do a filter according to what we need. With a test question, however, what people tend to think is they must use these other filters to make it look like they're, doing that bit more. But it really depends on the question. So what they're trying to get at in the test is, do you use the most efficient way? So if I was going to do, I wanted to filter this to everything above 2, I would just do that, and then it would include the 2, and above, if I didn't want the 2 included, I'd just do that and it would be filtered. And I might think I need to go and do what I'm going to do is a greater than or equal to, and then put in a 2 and filter it that way. But you can see which one is there's a clear again, you can see the one that's much more efficient. So always go for the most efficient. Okay, so it's quite straightforward. It will either be filtered when you get into the question, or it may not be, or you might need to clear and do something else. So just keep an eye on what's going on in the window. And I've popped this sheet on just to remind you of how you need to think about the most efficient way. And that's that on that area. Let's close this. And let's look at some advanced filters. So filtering is pretty straightforward, simple filtering. But we can do a bit more. And why not? This example is how we'd use advanced filtering. So if you go into the Data tab, you can find the advanced filter in the Sort and Filter group. And the advanced filter's there. You'll notice that a couple of things, or you may not notice, but one thing I think you will notice is that there's headings at the top and an area where I've put some criteria. Just like you sort of would in an Access query, you're putting it under the field, and that's the information that you're drawing out. And in this case, filtering. Okay, so we want to filter in this data here, administration that is less than 5 days absence, as it says over here. So administration staff who have been absent less than 5 days. So we want to give them the bonus for doing that. I've highlighted the yellow just so you can see it in action. The other thing is that we need to click in the data before we can do anything. Then we need to go to the advanced. Make sure that the list range is the data, like the survey type data, the larger amount of data. Drop that down. The criteria range is where you've placed the information under the headings we've got separately up there. And then when we OK, it will filter accordingly and draw out everyone that's had absences in administration for less than 5 days. So quite quick and useful. And then there's a clear at the top of here where you can clear and take you back to your recent data. Let's have another go at the next tab along, filtering 2. Let's think about what we'd have to do to answer this. So the first thing is I make sure I've got my headings across the top. I'm going to make life easier and copy computer services and paste it in there because that's what it wants. All computer services staff who have been absent less than and including 2 days. So my criteria for absence would be less than and equal to 2 because it's including the 2. So it has to meet both those criteria to filter that information for me. So then I'd go to clicking my data, go to my advanced. Luckily, it's picked up that table already for me because I've been on it before. The criteria, however, I will have to highlight and note how I highlight all of the criteria, whether it has its headings and its criteria, whether it has information or not. And then OK, and you can see that filters that beautifully there. So that's a quick way of finding lots of information. There's a couple of little extra bits on there that you can play with, but that's the gist of it. However, there is a lot more to advanced filtering that we're going to look at next. Let's close that, don't save. So there you go, more advanced filtering, the next folder, number 4. So we're going to open up more advanced filtering. And we're going to look at the different ways that you can use it other than the one way that I've shown you, which is just straightforward and. So in this one, we've just got a very simple filter. If we go to the Data tab, is it filtered? Can we see it down here in the filter mode? If I hover on there, there is a filter applied to this sheet. So we can actually clear it, and there we go, it's not there. So let's change the data this time, and we're looking for totals, make sure I only have one in there, less than 500. So we want totals less than 500 filtered. Click in the data as you have before, advanced, it's already picked it up. Onto the criteria, highlight that, criteria range, OK, and then you can see that it's fixed that. Next one, and. So it's just another and one, but it's got 2 lots of data that we had in the first one. If you looked at this and we went to do it, we've got our data, we've got our criteria, and we OK, and nothing happens. And as I've got on here, I'm asking you, is there something wrong with this? Because if it's not worked, it's obviously a common problem. And this could happen in a test, particularly because your mind's not totally on things. It's because I put my criteria in the wrong heading. Oops, sorry, copy, paste. And if it is in the wrong heading, it's not going to work. So let's make sure our data is clear. Click in there again, advanced, pick that up for the right date, drop it down, OK, and then that's filtered. OK, so be careful that things are in the right place. So an and is on the same row under the headings. An or, however, on the next one is on separate rows under the headings to meet the and or the or. And you would do this sometimes in a database if you had two lots of data that you wanted to, or criteria you wanted to draw. So this isn't filtered, we see it's clear. So we're going to click in the data, onto advanced, onto there, highlight the information, the criteria area, and OK. And there it's filtered, and a lot didn't really happen. So let's clear it. Let's try some different. So we're going to do less than. So obviously it's something that's already set up. Less than 21st of the 12th, 2003, and not including the 21st. And we're going to do some totals greater than 750. Okay, back into the data, advanced. There, that's OK. Our criteria, pick that up. OK, this time we're going to extract the data and put it at the bottom. That's the filtered data. So if we do a copy to another location, they call it extract. And then you click on the copy to there so you know where you're going to put it. Let's put it in the A18. Drop that down and OK. And then your filtered data is below the original data, which I always find much more useful, but everyone's different. So if it's not a snapshot and you want to keep it for a bit longer, extraction is always a useful tool. Between is where you have two lots, so it's between 300 and 500, so opposite each other on the same, and they've both got the same heading, so note that. You can add headings. Not would be the one to watch for the exam particularly. Not is two chevrons opposite each other, so the wide areas open and opposite one another. So let's have a look and see how we do this. So clicked in the data, that's picked up OK. Criteria range, highlight across, drop it down. We could extract it and copy it to here. Okay, so we're in A17 onwards. OK, and you can see that there is no greens in that data. Try this yourself where you've got two lots. So what you need to do is have a little think about it. But what you need is two lots of this, but they've got to be on the same row, haven't they? So we could just copy that. We could pop company there. And we could do not. And the one thing I do all the time is sometimes I put a space in like I did, which I don't need to. And when I've done this, I've looked and I've picked up Jones and not the J because it's greens. So we'd be really careful. It's one of the only ones really there with a initial in front of it. So you can't do a space for that because it's the same. So then you've got J Jones. So you click in your advanced data, click on there. Make sure your data is in the right place, which is there. And your criteria is across there. And once again, we can extract it down to there and OK. And what should happen is you don't get any greens in there and you don't get any J Jones either. So that's a way of doing more than one. And then you've got it there as the example of the more than one. And then you've got a not and an and. You've got an example of a not or, and then the example of the extracted data. So lots of information there that you can sit and watch and also have a play with, make sure that you practice it for yourself so you understand what it is you need to do to meet an advanced filter question. Okay, so I'm not going to save that. And the last couple of bits in this series for the week for section 11 and 12, I'm going to do the adding subtotals and custom sort. So let's open up adding subtotals. Nice little feature, nice little tool. Before, we've done something very similar in the data tab called outlining. Do you remember in here? So auto outlining just sort of like hid or displayed or collapsed and expanded data according to what you wanted people to see. This one does a calculation as well. It does subtotals, totals, and it does it automatically. All data to begin with has to be, for example, the department here needs to be sorted correctly, because otherwise if we do subtotals we can't do them all mixed, it would look a mess. So that's the first thing you need to make sure that your data has. In the exam they would do that for you automatically. We click in our data and we go to what they call the subtotal up on your data tab, a lot in the data tab as I said before, and it says on it that it quickly calculates rows of related data by inserting subtotals and totals. So let's have a look at that. Click on it. So in the exam, if we just pull this alongside here and read this, this is the way the question would be coming at us. It would give us the information of at each change, and you can see there at each change. So I'm going to make that department. The sum is going to be a numerical field, or the use function. It's got to be numerical with regard to subtotaling, hasn't it? The absent. And the function you use could be something different. So in our case, it's sum, which is default. Could be at, you could have to change it to one of the others though. But that numerical field, as I said, would have to be something that met. So if you did it and it looked absolutely ridiculous, then you know that you've maybe popped something in the wrong place. Because remember, this is the tool that's doing it for us. So when we OK, you can see now how it jumps into outlines as it did with the outlines before, but this time they're subtotaled, and you can see there's some highlighted areas all the way along with subtotals. So once again, if we click on 1, we get the grand overall total. Then we get the subtotals and the grand total, and then on 3 we get all of the information. So the question may be that it wants you to use subtotal this data according to instructions, as we've had here, and then show subtotals and total only. And that could be your question answered. So not too bad, just takes a bit of time. Think about it, think what you're using. And then I've done a couple of examples here where you could try it again, and you could do it, you could do it with regard to using an average. So remember, department at each end, absent, OK. And then if you wanted to remove all back into there, click on there and remove all, and it goes back to what it was originally. So think about that. There's the information there, a little bit further. I don't think you'll need it too much, but it might help in revision areas. Okay, so that's that area covered, and the final bit of the syllabus here in the 11 and 12 sorting and lists criteria is the custom sorts. We're going to open that up together and have a look at this. Let's go to the first sheet, custom sort lists. So what we have here, I've just over this way, I've just put in this Monday and Tuesday. And you may or may not have done it with us before, but you know, with when we've had ECDL before in the spreadsheets basic, you can actually put in lists, can't you? If you highlight the first 2 sequences, you can then fill up the rest of the sequences. So you can do 2, 3, and then you can, it will follow suit. So what this is really is it's got stuff in the back end, if you like, of Windows that are there automatically, and it almost like reads what it is you're trying to do. But then we also have this ability to do different customized sorts of information. So instead of just starting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday as they do, we can change that accordingly. So if we pick up these, just to make your life easier than mine, I'm going to copy that in. I'm going to place it in under the order of the day. So H6 to H14. And you can see it's not in order, not in any particular order. And it goes back round again, so not too good. So if we click in there and we go to the sort and we go to the custom sort, remember we used the custom sort when we were doing the multiple sorts. This time we're going to drop down here and make sure we've got the right heading that we're dealing with there. And then in here, we're going to go into custom list. And this drills down into an area a little bit more to it. So we've got lots of days here and we want them ordered properly. So we're going to go for the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. The normal week, if you like. And I didn't pick the Mon to Wed because it won't work against the text that we've got in our workbook spreadsheet. Okay, so if we OK that, we can see it's up there. We OK it again, and it fixes it beautifully so that it's sort. However, what if we had unfortunately, a week that starts on a Sunday? So let's try that then. So we're going to go back into the same feature, custom sort, expand, yes. We're in the order of the day, that's what we're changing. And we're going back into the custom list. I'm going to add a new list in. We've got one there, but I'm going to delete that. It's not very good, it's just been started. So let's just delete that. Okay. And I'll just for ease, I've copied it out here just so I can run it through. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Let's say that it finishes, oops, Thursday. And finishes on a Friday. Okay, might start on a Sunday, but there are some good things that come out of it. So if you click on the add, it jumps into the custom lists area. So now it's actually highlighted. We can OK that. You can see that it's in there. OK again, and that data changes. If you want to do it next time, you could always copy those before you go in and do it. I forgot to do that, hence I had to type badly into the area. But it's how we do things. Okay, so that works. Let's have another little look at custom lists. I've popped something down the bottom here to help remind you when you're doing them. And what I'd like to do is look at this area here where we've got custom lists that people may want to use in a particular way with particular names. So we can also do titles of positions in a company. So there might be reasons why you want your own sorted lists in there that you can just apply to large areas and sort it out in a matter of seconds. So let's have a look at this one and see if we can, I'm going to copy that before I go into the feature to make my life easier. And I'm going to click in there, make sure I'm in the right sort area, into sort, custom sort. Make sure that I'm on the names. That's the title there, the heading. And then into custom list. And I'm going to paste what I've just copied in. So these are the people that I want in the list. And this is the way that I want the list to be sorted as well. Okay. So if we add, it drops it into the custom lists area and we can now use it. Okay. And there you go. All sorted as I wanted it, not alphabetically or in another way. So you can have a go with the same with the one here. Nice and easy. Just remember when you click in it, when you go into the tool, that you make sure you're on titles before you go ahead and do that one. Okay, so custom lists, not too difficult. What you've got to watch in the exam with these is that sometimes they'll give you date lists. You'll see one if you do the diagnostic, and it looks like you can just sort it, a normal sort, and it will be fine. But if they say custom list or custom sort, they want the custom sort here. Okay, so make sure you use the right feature and that will be fine. So the next series that I'm going to do of videos is going to be pivot tables. So thank you very much, and pop in and see pivot tables if you want to continue on our week 4 demonstrations.